Good evening. This is a meeting of the Master Plan Committee, and we have a quorum, so we're ready to start. So I will take a roll call vote for, or roll call for quorum. As I see, Markalier,
Here.
Demoria,
Here.
Savidovich,
Here.
Stivers,
Here.
Warren, Signs,
Here.
Connolly,
Here.
Watson,
Yep.
and McKee.
Here.
Okay. So the first item on the agenda is to discuss and review chapter homework from the last meeting. And the first chapter is economic development. I don't know, I know you just sent this out tonight, Julie. I don't know if you want us to go over it tonight or.
So yes, my apologies for the late delivery. My whole family's been down with COVID this week. So we are hanging from a shoestring. And luckily
you're even here at this meeting. Thank you.
barely, yeah. Thank you. And I actually have another meeting at 7:30, so I'm going to try to hop back off and on. That one should be quick. Yeah, I appreciate all the work that Judith in particular and everyone did in putting into this. I did make a few changes. If we'd like to go through them, I'm happy to kind of walk you through them. I don't know if I know
You
I
should
just
be able to
sent it.
share, Julie. You should be
Okay.
able to-
Actually, if you want to, because it might be a little bit easier to review it. I went through just a little while earlier, Julie, and just accepted
Okay.
all the deletes just because it makes it easy to see it. So and it's in the shared folder. Sarah, are you able to get to the shared folder, or I can do it?
If you could do it, that would be great. My internet
hang on a sec.
is doing pretty good right now, but sharing tends to present.
So you just, so I'm sorry, you took all, you accepted some of the, just like the.
Yeah, so just let me call it
Okay.
up, and then so
Can you still, I just want to be able to quickly go through the changes though. Will those still
yeah,
be
you
visible?
should be. Actually, let me do this slightly differently because, hang on a sec. Let me do it from my system because the Google Docs sometimes messes up the. Here we go. Okay, so why can you not see it? Oh God, this is so annoying.
Well, Julie, do you have it up? Maybe just in
Yeah.
the intro.
Yeah, but
You have
it's
to jump
sorry,
off.
I'm just gonna say it because it's still in
So many-
tracking mode.
Track
We're gonna
changes
see a
are
lot of.
challenging to look at.
Yeah, here we go. I got it. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Right. So let me make it big for Sam
Perfect.
and Tom.
Real big.
Real big. Yeah. Hang on a sec. So this version, so this is what Julie sent out this afternoon. And what I did is I accepted the deletes, but the
Okay, perfect.
inserts, which are generally the more important ones. And all of the comments you can see here in blue, I think they are. So
Perfect.
if
Okay.
I will drive Julie if you want.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. And a lot of this was just, just a cleanup stuff, making some consistencies and definitions. and things like that. And it looks like you answered some of my questions here about whether the Vision Open House was defined somewhere else, and things like that. Yeah, in other defined terms. So if you want to read through and, again, some of this was just stylistic cleanup, making it a little bit, just putting it all together a little bit. So I'm happy to take any comments. I'll let you read yourselves. Save my voice.
Yeah. So I think the comments here and the right, I think, are just really good points that Julie's made. So and one of the things that we're going to do is a final kind of review of kind of standardizing of the terminologies and references, because each chapter was written individually, you tend to forget that you really need to, a reader might not read the whole thing. Well, I mean, they will, of course, because it's going to be so brilliant, but they might say, well, I just want to read the economic development chapter. So we have to make sure that our definitions are kind of in every chapter. The key definitions are in every chapter. So
I had a question on the downtown. So it appears like in the beginning here, the downtown is referencing
one of the villages,
like from the business village district, which is now the downtown district. But later on, the downtown is wider, like more what was referenced in the ULI report, from all the way back to where like the townhouse is.
I think the way I was thinking was it is more like more the zoning district of what exactly it is and how it exists, is sort of how I was thinking about it. I think that's the right way to go about it. We can certainly clarify that the ULI encompassed an area, including the downtown, but that went slightly beyond the sort of the edge of the zoning district.
Yeah, so the zone, like the downtown zoning district and what was the business village district in the downtown. From there from like Park Street to the townhouse is all residential.
Right.
Most of it, at least.
Oh yeah, there's that one cutout with the real estate houses. Oh, in 11 Main.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mimi, are you suggesting that we should refer to the downtown district rather than downtown?
Well, so we're referring to it in two ways, so it's confusing. That's all. Are we referring to the zoning district, which is now the downtown district, or the whole downtown that includes the townhouse and, the old fire station? And because it was,
I think we can sort that out in terms of definitions more clearly. If sort of sit back and read the whole thing and just distinguish between the two meanings. And there's times that I think need to talk about each separately.
Yeah. So I think that's right, Sam. So I think maybe we need another pass, and I don't really care how it's defined as long as it's right, and I know we're all trying to get it right. So
yeah.
That's just an administrative detail, though, so that's an easy one to fix.
But this chapter is economic development, and the only economic development is in the downtown district. There's no economic development outside of that district that's considered downtown, is there?
I don't think that's quite right. I mean, we've got the Route 9, there's a big portion on that, and there is, we have.
But that Route 9 is not downtown.
Right. But I'm saying, you said the chapter is economic development, and we talk about economic development in different parts of town.
Oh, I was just doing the termination for downtown, sorry.
Oh, so
downtown district or downtown.
The economic area of the overall
I see.
downtown is just that downtown district.
Yes. I totally agree with Route 9, that's separate, but you guys were debating what is downtown. To me, the downtown is the business district that just got voted on.
Okay.
And that's where any economic development's going to happen from.
But Tom, there are other places for economic development, for example, around the T station. One could.
That's not considered.
But that's not downtown.
That's
just
not
in-
downtown, that's right, yeah.
He's just talking about in defining the downtown in economic, from an economic development lens.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, what the business village district is a zoning term and includes the downtown by the library. It's by the library.
Well, the business
Yeah.
village district is now the downtown district, or will
Not
be
quite.
when.
Most
Yeah, it
of
will
it.
be if it
Right,
when it
but there's
gets
more than
approved
one
by the
business-
state.
Okay, but there's more than one business village district in terms of
Right.
zoning districts, isn't there?
But-
right.
Yes.
The key word is the word downtown.
Okay, all right. I will work with Julie and Mimi and we'll get this standardized. Okay, awesome. And this is a similar point about historic villages. And again, a good point about defining Shopsy. Oops, there's a little one. Snuck through. Program. Yeah, so Julie, I think we might need to, I think, Mimi, you sent me a summary of some of the other development projects, didn't you? I think for other examples. But
Yeah.
since 2008, I need to go back and find those. I think the reference there to, despite some progress, Julie, was, just points like, we have got some development was undertaken in these areas that was referenced in the original plan.
Okay.
One of the things I want to do is, it's on my to-do list, is to have a final sweep through of the implementation status for 2008 recommendations, because I think some of them might well have now been kind of achieved. So we'll just do a final sweep and see what else we can find on that. That was my, so we've got to add that in. Yeah, this was a good one. Mimi, I don't know, Sam, if you're able to comment on this one. So there was a goal in the 2008 plan around balancing the financial benefit to the town from development and open space. But there were no specific recommendations. So I don't know whether, I don't quite know what to put in that goal status. It's a bit of a woolly goal in the first place.
Mhm. Yeah, again, I need to think about that, Judith. I don't actually have a clear answer to that right now.
Okay.
About it.
Anyone else has got anything to put in there?
Well, so I know, I have an idea of where it came from, but I don't know. How you satisfy that goal. So I think at the time we were just, when they were doing the last master plan, had just gone through this big population surge in town. A lot of subdivisions were built, the schools had to be expanded. So there was a thought to balance what tax benefits or service requirements in a development versus keeping it as open space. But I don't know how you quantify that.
Mhm. And we were also approaching the limit of developable property at that point as well. There was a lot less developable property 10 years ago than there was in the preceding decade.
Right.
So And the economics, we talked about, it costs the town money to build a new residence because the cost to tax school kids in the house is exceeded by, or exceeds the tax revenue off the parcel. So how do you balance the pressure on tax rates with residential development? Open space, again, takes property off the tax rolls typically. So all those pieces are coordinated or connected, but there's no perfect solution to that. And so the trick going forward is always how do you balance the need for some public goods like open space, for example, and people's right to use their property to build houses on, et cetera. And the tax burden being reasonably well managed, controlled, so taxes don't go up by huge amounts every year, et cetera. So again, no easy solution, but somehow I think talking about that trade-off is a useful topic to at least get in here, even though there's really not a clear answer for it.
All right, Sam, it sounds like you can write a lovely little sentence or two then.
To further confuse the issue. Perfect.
No,
Should that be a goal or just something that's
I think it's
sentence that's
something,
dropped in there?
Consideration, yeah.
it's just, I think maybe we can just put a commenter there in terms of goal status, because it's not, I mean, it's not a specific goal, unlike, you know, review change the permitting process.
Right.
You know, that was very much as, you know, it's very action, it's very specific, it's very action oriented. This was kind of which there were several in the 2008 plan. It's like, oh, let's have this nice kind of touchy-feely comment in there about it. So we can add that in. So the active organization, you know, Julie made the point about, should we have in here which organizations are going to be responsible for implementing the plan? That all of that is going to be in chapter 9. So we've already got our first pass at role, primary responsibilities for each of these recommendations. Before for the next meeting, I just want to have I will have a go at drafting the implementation plan, which is not, it's not going to have a lot of narrative in it, because it's, you know, it's basically just
Linking it to a goal.
it's linking it and just say, you know, just it's.
So was this a
document.
carryover from last time and then adding EDC, which didn't exist last time? This organizations?
I think what we agreed a couple of meetings ago is on each recommendation will have a specific responsibility.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, this list of active organizations, was that a carryover from the 2000?
Oh, this is new. No,
okay.
This is new for 2008. But sorry, this was new for this plan. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a comment on building and zoning department. Although they're listed together on the town website, they're actually separate
Yeah, I was
entities.
thinking that too, Mimi. Yeah.
Good
Oh.
point.
Okay.
So the zoning board of appeals is a special permit granting authority for some special permits. It hears appeals and requests for variances. Anything else, Debbie? Did I miss anything?
Special permits.
I said that.
And determinations.
Okay, so the building department is the compliance with the code.
Yeah.
And the zoning regulations.
So the responsible for assuring compliance with state building code and Southborough zoning regulations, regulating building structures and property uses, that's all building department. All new construction, that's
Okay.
all building department.
Right, so we should then have a separate ZBA, yeah?
Yeah,
And what? Because I think I took this straight off the.
I'm sure
website.
you did. On the town website, they're together, but they're two different
Okay,
departments.
and so what, so just say again what you said for the ZBA.
They're a special permit granting authority on some special permits. They hear appeals. And requests for variances.
Okay. I will add that in.
In MAPC and MWRC are also in the land use and zoning chapter for list of active organizations. I don't know if it matters to have it in both places or.
Yeah, okay. Well, that'd be good, wouldn't it? Okay. Okay, so this was just, so there's two different authors. There's me asking some of the questions, and then there's another author, which is Julie, doing the responses. So
that was a new one on me, NECTA. I've never heard of them before.
okay.
I can ask Marika if she works with them, maybe, but I don't know that it's necessary or adds anything to include it here.
Okay, so Julie. I'm sure I've got a name wrong there, but never mind.
I
I'm
think that's
unfortunately
right.
gonna have to hop off in a few minutes. I have a 7:30 commitment I have to check in, and then I'll probably only take about 20 minutes. I'm really sorry. I'm a little.
Okay. No. Let me just, because I think a lot of this was, yeah, there's just a few data points we need just to get updated, which is great.
Yeah, and I sent some of that information to you
Yes,
separately too after.
I realized I had a different.
Yeah, no
We have
worries. I know it's a lot last minute.
To do IP links.
Yeah, and that was a good comment about adding something about the effect of the pandemic on office buildings. So I added some language there. And if you guys continue on without me, I mean, again, this is obviously just my suggestion. So I'm happy to go with.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's go through this. I'll just summarize what else is here, Julie, and then we'll make this version available again on the shared site. If anyone then wants to, review it in detail and send me comments like we've done on the other chapters, then that's great. But I think we're in pretty good shape here. So thank you and the team or the EDC for all of their work on this one. So. Okay. Yeah, so we've added in a recommendation about go to the end here. Revise zoning regulations for Route 9 to allow mixed-use development to improve vacancy of underutilized space.
Yeah, I have a question about that.
Okay, fire away.
First of all, we really don't know what's going to happen in the office space. Probably people won't go back like they were before, but I question whether we want to fill our very small business highway district with residences.
Oh, I don't think that's the intent at all. I think it's just to allow for some more flexibility, and you're right. And it's forecasted by people who work in industry that office is going to come back, going to rebound to some extent. It's never going to be quite the same, but I think just exploring options for because again, mixed use can mean different things also. Mixed use can mean a mix of retail and office in the same space. So that would help provide amenities to the people who work there and also to the town. And to the extent we're still, the thing we haven't been able to solve for is still the affordable housing component, maybe potentially opening up again in a way like we did with downtown that we can control for and think about and be proactive about, for some affordable housing units or other diversity in housing. Again, doing it in a way that's proactive and limited in scale to what we're looking for. It's something that, EDC started to talk about as we began to shift our focus to Route 9. Again, an exploratory at least.
Well, our zoning code defines mixed use as residence and commercial.
Yeah.
So it would have to have residence. We have so little commercial space in Southborough.
But that's the zoning code for the downtown. And again, I'm absolutely.
Well, we
not
wouldn't
looking to-
define the same term in different ways in the zoning code. That just makes things very confusing.
We could, well, but the district, the downtown bylaw is specific to that very district. Again,
Correct.
we
Right.
could allow for, on Route 9, it to mean retail and office, and maybe some residential, but again, limited in scope. It's just something to think about. And again, I'm not saying that should be necessarily the goal of this, but the goal should be to explore it and see what makes sense. But I'm sorry to cut off right now, but I'm going to try to hop back on shortly if I'm still awake. But I do have to hop to another meeting. But again, I'm happy to take this up. But I think it's worth having in there. It's just an exploratory because I think it does solve for a lot of problems. And right now we're really, really limited in what we can do on Route 9.
Shouldn't it say that then?
Yeah, that's what I'm just writing.
That's fine. I'm happy to help with the wording to modify it too. So maybe not revise, but review zoning bylaws to explore different options for different mixes of use of retail, office and residential. Because the truth of the matter is, I think it's possible that some of the office space will have to be repurposed to stay at vacancy.
Okay, we can work on the wording. Right. Okay,
All
let me just.
right, thanks
all right.
everyone. I'm going to try to come back shortly. Sorry about that.
Okay, let's
Tom, has Shopsy discussed affordable housing on Route 9?
Yes, we have discussed the possibility that we should not exclude the possibility. I be vague about it, but there was a discussion, again, a lot of informal discussions. I know the CAS building is under contract, converting the CAS building to be some kind of affordable housing condos or whatever. There has been all these type of discussions, but nothing ever came from them. It always comes back to that same word, septic.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So there was a question on that it shouldn't be included in the plan because it's a long range or something. Maybe it's later on in
this
this.
one here. Is it this comment here? Mimi?
Yeah.
There was a recommendation, Judith, right under where you were just typing with Julie, that I thought was a little, I don't know if you want to go to it. And it talks about doing further research for these kind of long-term, okay, here it is. Yep, the ED 3.8. I don't think hire an employee is kind of exactly right for this document, but I think maybe the intent is to research and apply for grants or search for other opportunities, but she's looking here for large scale, difficult, I think that wastewater and connectivity is in there too.
So is it the essence of that one to say that we will look for grants to help us look outside? Basically, it's bring us some grants to hire somebody or some company to look outside the box for that Route 9 corridor. Is that the essence of that?
Sounds like it.
It sounds like it.
Yeah,
But I agree with Debbie. I don't think hire an employee should be.
yeah, a
No.
little too specific, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hire Sally or Fred to do this.
Yeah, I think, research and apply for grants is fine, but the hiring, I think one may lead to the other, but we don't need to have that as the goal.
Agreed.
Okay. Let me go back up here.
Yeah, so that was the other, since infrastructure updates tend to be longer.
I
term
wrote that.
capital.
So do we want? What do you
Oh, I
want?
think I think that we want to have that as a goal in this plan, to look at the infrastructure on Route 9. Because
Okay.
that seems to be a major impediment to any type of development on Route 9, so.
Sorry. One sec. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just reading some of this. Okay. I think most of the rest of it was just wordsmithing. I think there was the tax point. Yeah, that's the recommendation. That's 3.8. And then I think based on the conversation before, we probably need to go back to saying this is downtown district, yeah? Rather than just the downtown. Did I get that right?
What did we call it in the town meeting? Did we call it downtown district, downtown business district?
No, downtown district.
Okay,
That
This
is
is
the
what-
new district.
New zoning district, yeah, downtown district.
I just want to use the same words that we did in town
Yeah.
meeting, that's all.
Yeah, well, that's a specific zoning district, yeah.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So I think I'll do a little bit of tidying up on this, and then I'll put this out in the shared folder. If people want to have another look at their leisure. Is that okay?
At their leisure before next meeting.
At their leisure, like ASAP.
Judith, did that go to everybody? I don't think I got a copy of that. Did Julie just post it in the shared folder?
I
or-
didn't. I thought Julie had sent it out to everybody.
I don't think I got a
Maybe
copy
she
of it.
didn't. Hang on a sec.
Did everybody else get a copy of it?
I don't think I got it either.
Oh, so maybe she just sent it to you and I, Judith, because I got a copy of it.
Okay. Top secret document.
I think it was because the original email came. I think it was because Julie wrote a draft and then I expanded the draft with input from Mimi, and then Mimi and I sent that to Julie. So she's probably just replied to my original email. Okay,
Yeah,
so
no-
I'll
no
put that out
problem.
into the shared
No
folder.
problem. I
and
just
let
want to be
people
sure
know
I
where
didn't
it
miss it.
is.
So I'll look
Sorry,
in the
Sam?
shared folder. No problem. I just want to be sure I didn't miss it. I'll look in the shared folder for the latest version then. Thanks.
But if we can like wait until, I'll try and get to it in the next day or so, because it's always easier to, if I make changes, we can then make more changes on those changes.
Okay.
Otherwise, we've managed version control really well up to now. So
Waiting till later is something I do very well, so I can handle that.
pardon?
So it went out to me and Judith and the entire EDC. I saw a bunch of names, so I thought it went
Oh,
to
I
everybody,
thought,
but
I
it
just
didn't.
saw the bunch of names and
Yeah.
assumed it was our lot. So, okay, that's okay. Okay, lovely. So what should we do next?
The next one is land use and zoning.
Ooh. Okay. Land use and zoning. Shall we tag team on this one, Mimi? Do you want me to
Sure.
start? So, if you remember, land use and zoning was a kind of a, it's the second chapter this time around, but it's a really kind of, in 2008 was a really meaty chapter. I had a lot of words in it, because there was an awful lot of descriptions, you know, the history and the land use and all that. So as I went through it, I basically streamlined this in line with the other chapters, and put in there the reference that, you know, if you really want to go back and look at all the detail, you can, which I think helps us kind of focus on the, what are we trying to achieve this time around. But Mimi does some really nice summaries of the vision and survey responses. Okay, this is where. So I think, Debbie, you made some comments here and some of them are Mimi's as well.
So in the land use, I think I only really had, I think it was really great. I think I had one comment on the MBTA community and the future.
Right,
what the
okay.
future might look
So this
like.
one was about the reference to the fall meeting. So we've kind of made that in this goal box. We've specifically called that out about the mixed use and additional by right uses there.
Oh, okay.
That one's there. And I've added in the lighting bylaw and reference to the noise bylaw committee as well. But we've put them in the summary of conditions rather than in the accomplishments.
Okay.
So it's kind of, because they're kind of much more recent. If we'd got this report out in 2020, they would have been things that, you know, we'd have added in the future updates. So the organizations, yeah, I don't know how the MWRTA got in there, Mimi, other than it's quite possible I just copied and pasted the whole section from circulation and left it in to get the formatting right. So, but I think you're right. I think we'll take that out of there because it's in circulation.
Oh, okay.
And transportation.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
there's MAPC and
Yeah.
MWRC again.
And this is where we just kind of summarize what was in the 2008 plan, took out a lot of the detail there. This
So these I need to work on. So this chart, we don't have the same level of detail this time, but I'll see if I have to talk to the assessor, and I haven't gotten there yet, to see if I can get that level of detail updated this
right.
time.
Or if not, I mean, I mean, one thought I had was we could just use this 2020 data as the, here's what we're describing. And if there's a way that the assessor can help us like consolidate some of the 2006 categories so that they match with 2021. So, so something like
Well, so all those residential categories would be in that one residential.
Yeah, the
category.
residential I think is pretty close because there's 3 residential in
Yeah.
2006 and 1 in 2021. The ones where it just doesn't feel quite right is open space has gone from is now 37%, but if you add up agriculture, state owned and water, you get like 28%. So, and then public and institutional here is 4%, but municipal schools, churches, institutions here is like 19%. So there's just something
Things that aren't jiving, yeah.
right. But hopefully he'll be able to help you because this data comes off his database. So
Yeah.
and I think what we talked about was not necessarily, I mean, we could, if we could get them to match, we could show 2006 versus 2021. Otherwise, we could just call out some of the key changes. Which you quite rightly said was 11 to 10% is actually 10 to 11% is an increase and not a reduction.
Oh.
But little down. You don't want me to do maths as well, do you? Here,
That's advanced math.
I thought I was missing something technical there.
I only have 10 fingers, so as soon as you introduce 11, then
it's all over, huh? You got 10 toes too. Get you
I
up to
can't do
20.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so this little, I think it's just a question of getting the data and then being able to finish the text is quite straightforward. And we need to see if there's a new zoning map.
So we don't have it yet, and we won't get it until the AG approves the new zoning district. So I don't know when that will be.
Yeah. Timeline should be pretty quick on that. I know
It'll be
that-
very soon, yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah,
think so? It took a long time for last year's annual town meetings zoning bylaws to be approved.
There aren't many.
Yeah,
from
I
special
think
town
it's-
meeting.
I think special town meeting, I think it's supposed to be in, according to the town clerk, I believe he expects AG approval in February,
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good.
but don't quote me on it.
There must be less special town meetings than
Right.
annual town
Yeah.
meetings.
Yes.
It's a
Not-
quicker turnaround. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
Oh,
I
no,
didn't
thank
realise
you
we
very
weren't
much.
There. Hello, Miss Kate.
Vision.
Okay.
And so, and I did add a downtown district
Yes.
to this.
Yes, indeed.
And, there it is.
There it is.
And then I have to try and figure out the area of that to update this other map table 1.0.
Okay. The districts, zoning regulations. Again, I just summarized a lot of this out because I think it is important to still have it in here. It's so key to so many things that we're doing. And then the build out analysis, remind me, Mimi, you said you've got some data from Sarah, you're gonna have
Yeah, I got all the raw data, which I looked at before Christmas and my head blew up. And then there was Christmas. And then I wrote a tree bylaw, so I'll get back to it.
Okay, so this little section needs to increase, and Debbie had written a paragraph. Yeah, I can help you, Mimi, on some of this. It's just I ran out of steam when I was doing this the other day. I can pull out some of the stuff from the other chapters and add that in. And then we've got projects in the pipeline. And then objectives, goals, and recommendations. And this is where, if you remember, we've got in a nice little table, these are the kind of the really core land use goals and recommendations, but they're all in the other chapters. And that's where we've said we'll use the other chapters for implementation planning, but this gives us a really nice overall summary of them. So I just summarized out here just how many recommendations do touch on land use and zoning, so that I think a reader will be able to appreciate that we're not kind of ignoring it all. It's just that we've put the zoning dependencies in with where the actions need to take place in each chapter, as opposed to having this huge zoning section and then not really being able to cross-reference it.
What about housing in here? So that new section on the MBTA, the more kind of the by right development that will come along to create a more dense housing around the MBTA. Should something go into the housing chapter on that?
We can definitely add something about that. There's definitely more information now than there was last year on that initiative. They did just release some hard numbers in terms of what is considered a reasonable size for your district. There's a lot of speculation about that for a long time. And then how many units, because of that 15 unit per acre minimum, each town is going to have to come up with. And it's public information. I could send out a link if everybody wants to take a look at it, but right now the state is requesting that Southborough create 750 new units as a part of this initiative. So it's something that
Wow.
Shopsy, is
Yeah,
going
that's
to
a lot of units.
Crazy.
So, but again, that is, out there, MassDOT, and I could send a link to this group, but yeah, I'm not sure how it's going to get accomplished. I think that there is going to be a lot of pushback from a lot of smaller communities who are on, primarily septic and well systems. Because the numbers are pretty high for kind of across the Commonwealth. So,
And what does the overlay have to be, like 50 acres or something?
It's funny, I can't, the 750 like stuck in my head, but I can't remember exactly the acreage. I think it's a little bit smaller for, like, I think it might be like 35 acres for Southborough, but don't quote me because I'm not exactly sure, but
Okay.
it's definitely within that ballpark of like 50 to 30 or so.
So my wording might be wrong then. If it might be 15 units per acre, because these are multifamily homes or they're apartment houses too, right? Okay. Yeah, I'd be interested in that link if you would send it.
Yeah, I can send it to everybody. Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, so maybe it's 15 units.
Units per
Units,
acre.
yeah.
Not homes. Okay, because
15 units per acre, not homes.
Yeah.
Units.
Maybe we should just take over Hopkinton State Park. That'll solve it, won't it?
And that's a tough area too, because the river's right there.
Yeah.
There's
And the
not
railroad track.
in the railroad track.
The railroad
Like that,
track.
Close.
whole side of the street is pretty narrow.
Okay. Oh, and then the other one that we just left this point in here is about the scenic roads.
Oh, yeah, so thanks to Debbie DeMaria and her crack investigational skills, she discovered that in 1978, town meeting approved all non-number roads as scenic roads. So we discussed it at the planning board meeting on Monday. We're going to ask town council if we need to if the roads since 1978 are scenic roads also, or if we need to make them scenic. Because the wording in the Warren article from 1978 was all other roads, or so just to make sure. So at least up until 1978, all roads that were
Okay.
here then are scenic. But we're checking with town council to see if we need a new Warren article for roads since 1978.
Okay. So almost there on land use. Excellent job on that one. Screen share. What have I got next?
Vision.
The vision. Okay, this will be relatively quick, I think, because most of the changes were Sam telling me that I can't use certain words. Like, I still don't know why you don't like remit.
I love whilst.
Whilst in remit, I must have changed that 15 times now, Julie, so.
You have to
Whilst
throw a
and
couple
whom.
in there.
You've never come across whilst and whom. They're very, very key people in the UK, you know.
Feel free to change them back.
No, I would never change your wording back.
We have to have some whilsts in there.
We'll find a whilst. Whilst and whom.
Judith's stamp on the
Yeah.
overall master plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, heaven forbid that anyone would think that a Brit wrote some of this.
That's right.
Okay. So yes, this is just a note to say we'll do a big find and replace when we've got all of the other stuff finished so that we can make it a 2021 master plan and not a 2020 master plan. Got to put some hyperlinks in, but I think I've taught myself, with having looked at how Kat does hyperlinks, I've taught myself how to hyperlink now, so that's good. I just haven't done them yet, but so I don't think there's really much in here other than Sam's wordsmithing. Oh, 291, Sam. 291 participants in the survey.
Okay.
I need to add
I
that
didn't
in.
know, yeah.
I think I might be looking at a slightly old version. Then we've got the vision statement, objectives, goals, and we'll do a final count review there because it's a little fluid right now. And then this is just, if you remember in one of the early versions, I had the color chart that showed how they all fit together. It's just not going to be readable. So I went back to just this kind of summary level, but I think it does give quite a nice overview of each of the goal sections. And then we've updated the committee to show the boards and commissions that everyone is representing. So that was it, actually. That's the only thing on that one. And all of these documents, by the way, are in, there's a folder in the shared file called Chapter Review, January the 12th. So the current versions are all in there. If anyone wants to go and have a final look at them. And then what have I got next?
Oh, community, historic and cultural.
Yeah, and this one is mainly wordsmithing too, I think. So if you remember, the big change here a couple of meetings ago was we took out the downtown district out of here and put it into economic development. But I think this still holds together fairly well. So we've got the section on historic resources. I've actually got a map showing historic resources as well. I'll have to have a look. Okay, I'll probably send that to you so you can have a peek at that, make sure I've got it right. We updated the South Union School comment, talk about the different societies. Oh yeah, scenic byways, scenic roads, scenic byways. I'll update that once we've heard back from town council. Yeah, so Debbie, you made the comment about connecting the north and south. So that's actually in the circulation transportation chapter, but I went back and looked at it and we don't actually use that phrasing around connecting north and south in the chapter. So I'll go back in and update that because I think that was a really key point. And then Debbie, your other comment about investment in the downtown initiatives, maybe we just need to change it to downtown district now, because there's obviously still the development work to do. What we've got is the zoning. There's just the we've got Sam added some stuff in here, which was good. And then future opportunities. Oh yes, so Debbie added, I think, some good points in here around how do we collaborate and communicate between town government and the community. So some references to using Zoom and the use of technology. And we've added in some specific recommendations around that as well, which I think is good. It kind of fleshes out that section nicely, I think. So again, I'll put this in the shared folder and then we can.
The one I just wanted to bring up, and I don't know about, I mean, these are just recommendations. I think the town's actually made a huge commitment in the last 5 years, since I've gotten more involved in making packets publicly available, posting them online, increasing transparency. And I think it's really a big accomplishment. I can't remember whether we were speaking about the town clerk and his some of the detective work that he is doing in looking to potentially have virtual town meetings. I know it's an interest of his, but I don't know if it's something that the town's looked into and can be done. There are other towns that do it. I have no idea. So that last one, the 3.8, is is it something that we're interested in? Is it something that town clerk is looking at? I'm not sure if that one is kind of mainstream. I believe he is, and that's why that's there. But I think we'd have to check with town clerk.
It's my understanding he's actually looked into that. There are towns who do that, but they are towns that have representative town meetings, not open town meetings.
Okay.
The issues around security in terms of who's actually voting for those things. So if you're a representative, you can see that, Sally or Fred is the one on the screen there voting. But the Secretary of State has, to my understanding, not cleared anybody to do open town meetings electronically at this point. Although again, Mr. Haggerty is interested in that and has had conversations about it, but that's not in the near term future, but maybe eventually.
Okay.
Okay.
So maybe he's got a goal, or maybe we strike that then, Sam?
Yeah, I don't mind having it there for longer term. I mean, it seems to me that the point I think you're making with all of this is that we need more capacity for electronic communication and information sharing in town. And the Municipal Technology Committee is actually doing a number of things to support that. They did their townwide survey recently, which was pretty interesting. That got almost 500 responses. And they created a structure with that other folks are now looking to use for other types of surveys. And so that's certainly not really built out fully at this point, but I think that kind of structure could be hugely helpful in getting targeted answers. If there's an issue that comes up that's a very focused issue, it would be great to have the ability to put a question out for anybody who wants to weigh in to opine on that, to get a sort of a sense of the community. That's not a big survey project that takes weeks to plan and longer time to actually execute and analyze. So I think all of this stuff is moving in that direction, which I think is a great point to reinforce through the plan here.
Okay. So that's that chapter. So we have 2 more chapters to come back in. I think, Tom, you're...
2 more?
Yes, Mr. Marculio is working on his housing chapter.
Oh, we didn't do that already?
We
We
did, but we're doing a revision to incorporate the new graphs, number one, the goals. I don't know, I wasn't at that meeting when you guys discussed the 5th goal about market affordability, I think we called it. If you like, I'll present what we did. Was that goal we collapsed into 2 other goals. So if you want, we can talk about that now if we have time. Otherwise, we can talk about it when we...
Yeah, we talked about that last time. You shared that with us last time.
Well, okay, then I think I presented the Shopsy, and then we came to a conclusion.
Oh, okay.
I apologize for the different meetings because your schedules are very close to each other. But let me just bring up that goal section. Hang on. And I'll show you. It's a slight change. This won't take long. And let me know when you guys see it. Still.
Not yet. There it is.
There it is.
All right. So there was a 5th goal that said something affordable, but market affordability. And so we're talking to the members there and working with Sarah, we felt one of the goals is we're going to collapse it into 2 and 4. So one of the things, this one really deals with the moderate, I think we called it moderate affordable, which is, then we put some terms around that. And Sarah, I'll let you get into technical detail what that is. But that dictates your income. So moderate affordable is dictated by your income to deem that property as affordable. And one of the things is we want to inventory what's there so we know how much is there, to hopefully share that with builders or anybody else that's saying, hey, look at, there's a very low supply of moderate affordable housing. Is this something that would interest you? And then we kept, and this is, we argued about this, and this is Tom speaking right now, is the Shopsy, in my mind, has nothing to do with 40B. 40B is a limit that is a zoning limit. Shopsy to me only should concentrate on the word affordable housing. So, but we did put language in there. Our goal is to help our other boards to let the town dictate a lot more within itself if we do hit that 40B safe haven status. But the goal of Shopsy is not to reach 40B, our goal of Shopsy is only affordable housing. So that's what we did.
Right.
Right, but once we hit that, the town has more local control over
The
projects.
yes, but that doesn't stop Shopsy from continuously looking for.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
That's really the goal of that statement, is saying we don't stop at 10%. We can go beyond it.
Absolutely.
I think there's still a lot of common misconceptions regarding affordable housing and some of the terminology, you know, so I think that, you know, what Tom is expressing is sometimes what I've seen that's a little kind of concerning, is that people in many communities want to reach that limit and then they feel like, oh, you know what I mean? Take your foot off the gas and everything's
Yeah.
hunky-dory after that. So I think that the expression of Shopsy is, you know, just to try to continuously improve, you know, any kind of moderate or, you know, affordability in general in town, you know, while obviously working towards that goal, but not as like the end game.
Yeah,
And Judith, for your sake, I'm going through it again to eliminate some redundancy information into the master planning document. And so, you know, to get rid of some of the redundancy that really, and I emailed Sarah today to review it together before we put it up onto the Google Share, is to eliminate some redundant, you know, information in this chapter that we don't really need to put there.
Okay, awesome. So that's that one. So that's in progress. And then Mr. Stivers.
Right. I'm officially the caboose now on the train, I guess. So,
yes.
it's very lonely back here. I actually have been working on this. I think, as Judith can attest, I sent a partial draft earlier, but I'm struggling with cutting stuff. I'm now down like 17 pages, which is still way too much. And that includes both the public facilities and services and the resiliency and the schools piece, which I've broken out as well. And so my goal is to take another at least 3 or 4 pages out of that and be able to.
It's a big chapter, but
big topic, but there's still stuff in there that is you know, more expositional stuff, descriptive of things that again, I think we can use some of the same approach as in some of the other chapters to refer back to the 2008 plan for descriptive data. And the challenge is, you know, how much do you need to describe to make it relatively standalone for somebody who reads this one but doesn't go back to read the other one. So that's the challenge. And you know, again, I exchanged a message with Judith earlier today. My goal is to get the draft that folks can look at in the next few days here. So I will keep working hard on that. So.
okay. So we'll have housing and public services for the next meeting. I'll do a first draft of just the narrative around implementation planning. I guess the only other thing on my agenda or my list of topics was more one, Sam, for you, and I don't think Lisa's on tonight, but it's like, how can we get this in front of or at least the goals and recommendations, how can we get it in front of the Board of Selectmen?
Very easy that Lisa can do that. She drives the agenda there, basically. So I think the issue for me is not how, but what do we do? And as folks have observed, the select board meetings have tended to be very long. And so a lot of things on the agendas. And it's hard to think that we're going to get, you know, an hour to go through stuff. There have been some presentations that length, but I think the more effective ones are like 15, 20 minutes kind of things. So how do you prepare a presentation that hits the high points, here are the important things out of the plan as we're proposing, It may be focused on things that are new, different, et cetera, or things that the group feels might be more controversial or generate more feedback or questions. And particularly if there are places where this group feels that there are questions that the select board can provide support, guidance on, do we do A or B? What do you think? Kind of thing. If there are questions like that, I think that would be a useful conversation to have as well. So organizing the pitch and making efficient use of people's time, I think is far more important than sort of regurgitating, 2 hours worth of facts here that might be interesting in themselves, but you got a limited amount of time and attention. So how do you use that to our advantage to make sure we get answers that we need? And one of the questions is, this is something that the select board will be asked to approve. And so are there things that you're hearing that you're concerned about that we need to rethink or whatever, so we don't have any surprises at the end of the process when somebody comes back and says, well, why didn't you address issues X, Y, and Z here?
Sam, it seems to me that we have to understand what our objectives would be when going into that meeting.
Sure.
In other words, are we setting up the meeting so that selectmen, having reviewed this material already, can ask questions? Are we going to have questions that we want to ask them? Or is this a pitch to people who are uninformed about anything and we simply want to communicate a ton of information? And it seems to be kind of three different ways to look at it.
I think all three elements are there, actually. So that's a challenge to do all of that if we can. And maybe you can't do it in one meeting. Maybe we try to do it on 2 different meetings or 3 different meetings. I don't know. I think all those are very relevant issues, Bill. And again, maybe picking out a few high points from each and sort of getting a flavor of the reaction. I think usually we are pretty good about reading stuff in advance and coming in prepared for questions. So if we were to put together a presentation that might be a dozen slides or something like that, and say, here are the things we want to communicate, and that gives people a chance to come back with questions, that might be a useful device as well. I don't know. I haven't really thought hard about that, but that it is worth a lot of preparation to make good use of that time, certainly.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
And
Let
Lisa,
me
key to that.
talk to Mimi and we'll noodle on that.
Okay.
I mean, the headline is probably that we've just saved the town about between 80 and $100,000 by doing this ourselves. So that seems like a pretty good message.
That's popular, but that's not really why we're here, I guess. we could have saved even more by not doing anything.
Gosh, what would I have done with my Wednesdays?
That's right. You'd have had taken up some bizarre esoteric sport to spend all your time at.
And look at all the new friends you made over the years.
I know.
Like cricket.
It was funny. I had a quick call with Melissa Danza in conservation and Mimi earlier in the week about a couple of questions we had outstanding. And I was saying to them both, I know so much more about the town now. I drive around with Keith and he'll make some comment about it. And I'll say, oh, well, that's so-and-so. And that came about because of, and he kind of looks at me and go, how do you know this stuff? I'm like,
You're the new tour guide.
And I know what all my new friends help me with this.
You're welcome.
You're not an expert.
You had no idea what you were getting yourself into.
Oh
Did
my
you?
God, no. I absolutely had no idea what I was getting myself.
Weren't you brand new on the Conservation Commission?
I
Right.
was, yes.
And that's why they made you do this?
That's
Yeah,
right.
well, I put my hand up because, at the time, the Conservation Commission was all full of guys and they all kind of went, ooh, don't pick me, don't pick me.
That's right.
So I just felt bad for Melissa and I said, oh, okay, I'll have a go,
And we're glad you did.
Yes.
I got it from Bonnie Faniff. I think it was my second meeting. She's like, you do it.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm like, okay.
I do have a piece of disturbing news, Tom. The Rec Commission the other night voted to not support our pool. So we have to figure out what to do about that.
There is no pool recommendation in the master plan.
Let's
Yeah,
fix
there
that.
was.
There
No,
was.
there wasn't.
There was somewhere there, I thought.
No.
Yeah.
I will.
There
Olympic
was a lot
size.
of, there's a lot of positive feedback in its favor on the survey.
And they
Really?
did discuss
There was
that.
ever actually a goal, but there was a lot, there was a more
And
than I
Rec-
had expected.
Rec did discuss that point, but I think the concern was that it's a real maintenance and support issue, and relative to where they spend their
Details,
resources. to other programs.
details.
Yeah, so
Okay, hang on
So-
a minute. I can.
do a global word search on pool. But
Well, I think
only-
Kristen sent us an email tonight saying that they talked about that and the reasons.
we were counting on her to come through there. It's,
She went to the school committee.
yeah,
Okay, can everyone see that? I can.
that's where we stand. Nope.
That's a good point. Sorry, I've forgotten about this.
We just have to find external grant funds, Tom.
It's doable.
Yep.
Okay, what does it say last? Oh, thank you.
Big enough?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not about the summertime, by the way.
Yeah, this is good.
Yep. All these are reasonable points, certainly. But
True.
I'd still like a pool.
And I think at an earlier meeting, Kristen had said that Tim, is it Tim?
Tim Davis, yeah.
Tim
Tim.
Davis.
Had previous experience in towns that had pools, and
Yeah.
it was a
It's a
pain.
challenge, certainly. Yeah.
So I'm gonna summarize some of this and put it into the open space
Okay.
section. There's a little placeholder for it in there, so.
We need to find an Airbnb approach for private pools so people can go reserve time to take a swim.
Isn't there a thing right now? Do
There
like
is,
an
I think,
Airbnb
yeah.
for
Do you
pools?
be on that list? My pool can be Airbnb.
Yeah, great. Okay. But it's quite a trek to get there though, right? Can I? I can't walk to it in my flip-flops.
Well, my pool in Massachusetts, not the one in Vermont.
Oh, in Massachusetts. Oh, okay.
Vermont doesn't have pools. We have water holes.
Ah,
Sam, I think this is the Hyperloop issue then.
yeah,
Yeah, we use the new funds coming in for the Hyperloop.
excellent. Hyperloop, good.
Mm,
Would be-
That's how we connect north and south.
That's right. Tunnel. The boring company.
Mhm.
Okay. So I don't have anything else, Mimi. What do you have?
I'm still really disappointed about that pool, though.
You and me both.
Sorry, Tom. I know that's the only reason you were on this committee.
That's
Is to-
All right, see you later.
Maybe we should have told him that, yeah.
Is that it? I can't
Oh,
remember.
minutes.
The
Yeah,
I
minutes
think minutes. I don't think there's anybody here, is
from the
there?
lovely Miss Kate. Doing a
Oh, there is
sterling
one
job.
attendee. Oh, so public comment. If our one attendee wants to say anything, raise your hand.
I didn't know we had a public. Oh.
We're a very open group.
Super popular.
Well, good thing we're not trying to raise money by selling tickets, I guess. We rarely get anybody.
Okay, and then minutes. Did everyone have a chance to review the fabulous minutes from December 8th?
Wonderful minutes. Looked okay to me. I don't have any changes.
They look great. So do I have a motion to approve the minutes from December 8th?
So move.
And a
Second.
second?
Second.
And roll call vote. Stivers,
Yes.
Signs,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
McKee,
Yes.
McCoolier,
Yes.
Savidovich.
Yes.
Very good. Oh, and Latrell, yes. And then set a date for the next meeting. How does February 16th sound? That's 5 weeks.
Good for me.
I think
Is that
that's
okay?
fine as long as we get comments back on the chapters that are still going to be, housing and public services. If we
Yep.
can get them back before then.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
I may not have recovered from Valentine's Day by then. I don't know.
You'll have
We're
that sugar-
doing
that
some
sugar
Valentine's Day at the Stivers house?
How cute.
When we
Big
finish
event.
the master plan, do we get to have a party with wine?
Oh,
Oh
yes.
yeah,
Should-
baby.
Should, yeah.
And we can go to Karen's new home.
Karen's house in
Yeah,
Vermont.
please come Only 3 hours from Southborough. Yeah.
We
I'd
cannot
be happy to
carpool.
host you, honestly, that would be lovely. And I do have wine here.
Good. I
No,
have
you're
a
gonna get all
mask
the
with
heady topper. You have to get the heady topper while you're.
Yeah, Heady Topper for sure. Heady Topper is readily available here, Tom, so I'll be setting some aside for
I
you.
know, I know.
I have a mask with a straw hole in it, so I'm ready for wine.
Also, I'm right down the street from Lawson's Brewery, so if you like Sip
Yep.
of Sunshine, got that. Yeah,
Another good
Oh,
one.
I am. 7
So
miles.
Judith, if you like
Sunshine.
Sip of Sunshine, you have to try the heady topper.
Yeah.
Oh, the
I have-
Fogelbanger too. That's a good one.
Heady Topper is too much for me. That's the only beer that I've ever seen Keith drink 2 of and become tipsy.
Yes, they're what, 8%, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are high, but Sip of Sunshine is right up.
Have you tried the Fogelbanger? That's also made by the Alchemist.
Mm,
Yes, I spent many, many times up in northern Vermont, so.
wow, you guys are welcome for sure.
So do we want to adjourn the meeting before we continue this discussion on craft
Yes,
beer?
On official business, come on.
Sorry. Yes.
Maybe we should add a recommendation to build an artisan brewery in town.
Now you're thinking.
Well, that was the thought in the downtown, except
Big
for
downtown.
it uses too much water.
Oh,
Using water is okay. It's
Wastewater.
disposing water is
Yeah,
bad.
wastewater, I think, is the issue.
Yeah.
okay. Do you want a motion to adjourn?
Yes, could I have
Yes.
a motion to
Motion
adjourn
to
moved.
adjourn.
So move.
in a second?
I'll second it.
And a roll call again. Stivers,
Aye.
Signs,
Aye.
Watson,
Yes.
McKee,
Yes,
Marklear,
Yes.
Savidovich,
Yes.
and Latrell. 1, 2. Okay. Very good.
Everybody,
Thank you, everybody.
stay warm. Gonna get cold another couple of nights here again. This
Oh
is crazy.
boy, good night, everyone.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome. Have a
Good
good
night,
one.
Kate. Good night.
Night all.
Bye.
Good night.
Night,
Night.
everybody.